It's extremely likely that human activities, especially emissions of greenhouse gases, are the dominant cause of the observed warming since the mid-20th century. For the warming over the last century, there is no convincing alternative explanation supported by the extent of the observational evidence. I just wanted to get your thoughts if you agree with that statement or not.
Well, obviously, there's a lot of natural signals that are mixed in there too, and so in the absence of any natural signals that might dominate that, yes, there's human influences certainly there.
We wanted to ask is, from your experience, what pollution method do you believe we need to pay more attention to stopping?
Well, your major, climate change is caused by what we call greenhouse gases, and carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, methane are all, what we call greenhouse gases, which means they trap heat. They hold heat really well, which is great because we need some of those to stay alive on our planet. But the hotter, the more of those, the more heat that is held in, and so. I know in New Mexico, one of the strategies is to really try to reduce the emissions from mass transit vehicles, so buses, trains, and even long haul vehicles. And so the state of New Mexico has really been trying to find ways to have cleaner cars, cleaner vehicles. So hydrogen vehicles is something I know that the state is really looking at, especially for buses and other forms of mass transit. And even semi trucks that would be powered either by electrical or hydrogen power, which emit much hydrogen power doesn't emit any greenhouse gas. Electric may emit some greenhouse gases, but it's much less than gasoline or diesel. So I know that's a big strategy here in the state.
And who was the first president to care about the wildlife and environmental hazards?
Okay. This is interesting because, there were definitely presidents like Thomas Jefferson who were incredibly, he loved science, and he started the Lewis and Clark expedition, to explore and find everything that was they just done the Louisiana Purchase, and so that opened up a huge part of the country to America, and so he was very interested in what was there, but I don't know that he ever did anything to actually protect anything, and there were probably other presidents after him. I'm sure George Washington cared about, he loved the outdoors, but again, never really acted in a way. It wasn't until the late 1880s where President Benjamin Harrison was actually the first president to officially act to protect wildlife. He had it's called the Proclamation 287, prohibition of hunting fur-bearing animals in Alaska and the Bering Sea, and that was basically to protect seals.
Do you believe that the founding fathers had preservation in mind when they made the Declaration of Independence?
Yeah, the Declaration of Independence really doesn't discuss anything regarding the environment or protecting resources. And in that time period, America was seen as a land of abundance, that literally you couldn't use it. You couldn't use it all up. I mean, they thought there's just so many trees, we could never cut them all down. There's so many fish, we could never catch them all. There's so many, you fill in the blank. And really the founding fathers and the people of that time period really believed that everything that was there in front of them were resources for their use. There really wasn't a mindset of, oh, we should set this aside for future generations. We should set things aside just because they're pretty or they're beautiful. It was more, this was all given to us, and we are, we're going to use it. And so again, it just wasn't. I mean, there are probably, there are a few voices out there during that time that might have been speaking to that, that they were probably in Europe and not in America, because Europe had already used up most of their resources. And so, so yeah, it's very unlikely that that was on their mind.
The U.S. is producing more oil and gas than ever before. And what do we have to show for it? Everyday Americans still face volatile energy prices because oil and gas are global commodities and because we're exporting record amounts of fossil fuels. The communities nearest to this record-breaking production are overburdened with pollution, and their health and well-being are suffering. And the climate crisis, because it is real, is getting more dire each year. The United States should be leading the way to a new, cleaner future, not drilling deeper into this catastrophe.